Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I want to talk about adjusting to life in Korea. Now we're going to talk about two sides of the coin. The good side, so the honeymoon period and stuff being awesome, and not exactly the bad side, but something we have to be aware of, which is when you go to a new country, you lose your home field advantage. Let's start with the good stuff. Honeymoon period. Now that could be a few weeks, a few months, it depends on who you are, and that's when everything was so new, like, oh my god, like Milkis, this is awesome, it's milk soda. Anyway, and eating all the new food, meeting all the new people, going and seeing concerts, visiting the big tourist attractions, that is just freaking amazing. But then after a while, stuff kind of changes a bit, you've seen all the big stuff. You've seen all the tourist attractions, and you get to the second phase where there are awesome things, but it's not everything, which you get to enjoy things a little bit more. That continues for a long time, even my third year in Korea. All these small things were still amazing to me. Speaking of all the stuff that's new and awesome that keeps going, that transfers over to important functions in your daily life, such as paying bills, internet shopping, actually going through the process of getting medical care, and to some extent personal safety. Let's talk about money. In a new country, it's hard to get a credit card. Things get a little tricky. Online shopping is hard to do because I can't authenticate my debit card because my name's too long. It can't fit into the text box for the iPin system. So that gets a little bit grating and it limits your life in some ways. And sometimes if you don't speak Korean very well, and I remember this for my first couple months, you feel like a baby. And I'm an adult woman, I'm in a new country, I'm independent, and then I'm sitting there because I can't figure out these basic parts of life. There is this constant learning curve that I think can get kind of stressful for people. I've talked with some of my friends about it, and it's different for everyone. Don't think that you are failing just because one of your friends is adjusting better, or because you were adjusting better previously, because you're encountering new things constantly. Personally, I think most of my medical care was amazing, but the communication differences, even me speaking Korean quite well or working with Korean doctors, they are palpable. You do need to learn a bit of patience when it comes to working with medical things, and double check everything, because these doctors are super pro, but things get lost in translation. So really, read the ingredients on the medicines that you get, and if you're worried about one of them, don't be afraid to go to a pharmacist and ask about it. I found the pharmacists that I talked to in Korea were really patient and so willing to work with me and explain and check stuff because they really cared. So not to discourage you guys, medical care in Korea is really awesome, but you do need to take a bit more ownership of your medical care and be a little bit more forward when it comes to double checking medications for yourself. As far as safety goes, people ask me if Korea is safe. Yes or no? But I can't say yes or no because Korea is the real world and it's relatively safe. I felt very safe most of the time, but there are some sketchy places in Seoul and other cities, and I think people need to be aware of that. And you kind of need to take your time learning a city and learning the new red flags and kind of avoiding them. Let's talk about dealing with all this because, you just kind of have to deal with some stuff that's never going to change. Number one, everyone deals with things really differently. Let's say that you deal with stress really well by talking to your friends. In this case, you need to keep track of your communication because when you live in a different time zone, let's just say Korea and America, you're talking about 13-hour difference. You might need to make some sleep sacrifices to be able to talk to your friends, and they might have to do that too. Recognize that because it can be tough to keep track of your schedule or for them to keep track, and if it goes too long, it's hard to get back in contact. So keep tabs on that and make sure that if it's been a month since you talked to your best girlfriend, talk to her. Be like, hey, sorry I've been busy. What are you up to? How's life? And that really can help. Number two is humor. And I use a lot of sarcasm, which I will say doesn't translate very well into Korean. Just be aware of that if you use sarcasm. But it was a great way for me to deal with a lot of the awkward social interactions. Some people really get annoyed And I used to do this, so I feel bad. When a Korean person would say, oh my god, your Korean is so good, after me just introducing myself really basically. You know, understanding that in the Korean context, they're probably not having the same connotations as an American would in the American context. So it could just be someone feeling awkward, not knowing what to say, and I try to make some humor about it. If they talk to me in Korean, like, wow, 한국도 잘해요. Like, your Korean's even better than mine, wow. And it's a little bit sarcastic, but also it's a little bit like, hey, you know, let's just talk about it, so it's fun, right? So that is a way I dealt with it a little bit, and your mileage may vary. Never do that to older people, like only same age, like 동갑 or kids. I love kids. Kids in Korea really made it for me because at my help desk we did get some elementary or younger schoolers. So they might walk up to me and be like, 외국인이에요? And I'm like, 네, 외국인입니다. 한국인이에요? And they'd be like, oh, 네. Just having fun, because I know some people who get jaded might be like, oh my god, they're asking me if I'm a foreigner. Of course I'm a foreigner, look at me. But you know, just have fun with it. You know, kids are great. I always love talking to little kids on the subway because kids stare a lot. And they'll be like, and I'll be like, 안녕? And you know, they're so cute. And you just ask them how old they are. It's great. Their parents love it too. And everyone just becomes more relaxed. Communication with your loved ones and people who understand you really, really well is important. Finding the humor in small situations can make everything so much easier. And then letting yourself feel stressed. Like, don't put on a happy face all the time for your friends, or don't force yourself to enjoy everything. Just hang in there if you're having a hard time, and if you're doing really well with adjusting, make sure your friends are doing okay. Just keep tabs on yourself, keep tabs on your friends, and honestly enjoy Korea. You know, all the stuff I've said might deter some people, but it's not that bad, and I really want people to have a good time. So if you have any questions about stuff here, please feel free to put it down below, and I'll see you guys next video, so bye.